Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Duda Rock Albert.
Hey now! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Still Got Game, episode 17. Still Got Game is the official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, your Lord and Savior, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Joel Duda Rock Albert.
What's going on, Mr. Albert, my friend?
Snowing in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's snowing. There's snow here. It's horrible. So other than that, everything's fine. But the snow is just, oh, God. It feels like too soon, even though normally in Chicago it starts snowing in August, because that's how Chicago is. It just randomly snows. But yeah, it's snowing. How is it up in Boston? Is it snowing out there yet or no?
Our snow's coming this week. We've had days down in the 20s and 30s, but no snow. It didn't line up with the precipitation. But
right.
I think Wednesday night we're supposed to get our first dusting or something.
It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah, we've had fires in the fireplace. We've been rocking that for a couple weeks.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's very bromantic. Good for you.
Is that what it is? It's bromantic?
Well, like if I came over to your house, it'd be bromantic.
Oh, yes. Yeah. If you and I were coloring for the fire, that would be an entirely different thing than what's actually happening. Yes, but the bromance levels would be off the charts.
Right, exactly. That's all I'm saying. I just want that to be referenced. That's fine.
Yes. Yeah. So there's the reference level, and then there's the romance level, then there's the bromance,
level. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's
off the charts.
Right.
All right, well, we got an action-packed show this week. Obviously, this is D-Day. Now, this week we come in and we've got the PlayStation 4 launch. Next week we got the Xbox One launch. This is some fucked up shit, and this show is oversized, so we kind of cut down the news stories a little bit just to get to the nitty-gritty of what's going on. So we're going to try to hammer through this. Hopefully, we'll still finish up an hour, and you all go on with your nights and have a good time. So we'll start off with feedback from last week's show. Remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. Kieran Orion comments, and this is based on our Nintendo discussion from last week. I just listened to the full podcast and have to agree about Nintendo. I was a huge fan back in the day. I even bought a Wii to play Zelda. After about 5 hours in, I thought to myself, I'm not having fun with this anymore. The gameplay is the same for the last 10 years, and the visuals are horrible. Well, I'll do that. I gave up and haven't turned on the Wii again. I have no plans to ever buy another Nintendo console either. I agree with Duty, though. The thoughts of a brand new, designed from scratch, modern Zelda is great and something I would buy for Xbox One.
I think this is like a consensus that every gamer has had, that if they just, no one has birthed this idea. You know what I mean? It's one of those ideas that's collective. Like, hey, why don't they just stop making systems and start making games for awesome systems and make them gritty, do the whole Batman thing, right? Start over, reboot, and really just go after the software. But I'd like to take credit for it. I'm sure everyone wants to take credit for it, but it is a communal thought. Like, just get rid of the systems. Let's fucking move on and create kick-ass games. So I agree with that.
I think we've been saying that for
years.
I think last week's episode was the first time we said that. I think we've all called for Nintendo to bow out for a long time.
Years now.
Yes. Even before the Wii U, I think we called for them to bow out.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been the thing of like, well, because they've always been a system behind. You know, they're always doing the last generation when the other guys are ahead of the game. So it's not anything new. It's just, I don't know, maybe they're still clearly they're making enough money to keep going at it, or they feel like they don't want to give up. They still got something to provide. Or maybe just it's, again, which we've always said, is that it's a different type of gamer. You know, that's just not for us anymore, and maybe that's okay.
Maybe we've outgrown it.
Maybe we got to move on. It's fine.
All right, well, Tank comments, is it me, or is this the worst console launch game lineup of the past few generations? I think I'm buying the console, so I have it when the good games start rolling out, so more to play than the garbage they're launching with. By far, the bulk of the titles available are in both systems, so zero fucks given. None of those games will showcase what either system is capable of. And this is, I had said this last week, and I think this was more like D-Smooth, you're right. Besides the multi-platform stuff, there's very few exclusive titles, especially exclusive titles that are in our wheelhouses.
Right. That's the big problem, yeah.
So, but you know what? If you want the titles that are coming out in April, you need the console now, because the chances of you being able to get this in April, you just never know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think it was at work, because I'm getting the PlayStation on Friday, whatever. And someone asked me like, oh, so you're just not going to work? You're just going to go home and like, you know, you're going to play your PlayStation all day? I'm like, no, I'm getting a PlayStation and it's going to just be there. I have no games that I'm purchasing for it. I may, out of sheer boredom, go get Killzone, but not because I actually want to play Killzone, but because there is nothing else for me to play. So I 100% agree, Tank. I just think people weren't prepared for it in terms of how the cycles lined up from software into hardware. You know, normally you'll have your Halo launch, or normally you'll have your big launch from PlayStation. We don't have that. There's no Final Fantasies. There's none of these big games. It's just sort of like, here's the system. Can't wait till April. So
yeah, but normally we don't have a Halo launch, though. If you think about it, for the Xbox 360, we had kind of that patch to Halo 2 that like up-res the graphics to 480p. And
yeah, but they had games that people want. I mean, Perfect Dark for me which was a launch title. Yeah, the game didn't turn out great. Let's be honest, but I was like, that was ecstatic for me. That was like a reason to buy the system. I don't have that reason right now. It's, you know, like you said, it's very third party-ish. Call of Duty, you know, get it wherever you want to get it. You're going to get it on both systems. Yep. Maybe that's a reason. I certainly think people are buying the system for Call of Duty and Battlefield 4. I think that is happening. If you don't care, though, then I don't know.
Especially for the 64-player Battlefield, where it's the only game in town.
Right. So, I have to agree. It's a little disappointing, but like you said, you never know what's going to happen. You may not be able to get it, and when you do want it, who knows? I'm getting it because I love video games. I mean, it's going to sit in a box. It's going to be up on my shelf. Well, I'll be nice and I'll unpack it. I'll probably even plug it in. But realistically, there's not going to be a lot of gaming that's going to be done on it.
Probably not, no.
For a bit, but
All right. And last but not least, Acid Snow comments, who you guys have recently made up.
Yep.
Personally, I'm interested enough in both the 1 and 4's launch titles to get them both, but I'll be waiting at least 6 months before I jump on either. But I'll be picking up the PS4 way before getting the Xbox One. And then he went on for like some insane amount of paragraphs. But really, the thing he bought into the whole, it's 720p versus 1080p thing that we mentioned last week. And it's still apples to oranges. Like it's one thing if the launch games that haven't figured out how to maximize the ability of these consoles, it's if you have 1080p 60 frames a second and you're getting stuttering and freezing and you had to turn off anti-aliasing and all this other stuff just to get that resolution, which is what we've heard from some of the early reviews, then maybe you were better off doing 720p with anti-aliasing cranked up and letting the console scale it up to 1080p. But the native is 720p. Maybe that's a better thing, and you just don't know right now. So if you're buying into that 720p versus 1080p hype, there's a lot more that goes in the equation than just the number of pixels.
And I'd always look at frames per second, especially in most of these FPSs or fast-paced games. That should be your biggest importance. And there's going to be a lot of disagreement on this subject because I know how people are. They say, if it's not 1080p natural, then they have an issue with that. I get that. I think this is a very gray area for most people, but I actually side on Derek's. I mean, like, really view distance comes more into play at these resolutions than anything else. View distance from where you're sitting to where the TV is. If you're far enough away, there's absolutely no way you are going to visually notice the difference. In fact, I don't have the chart on me, but Google it. You'll find a chart. It'll actually tell you where these variances occur from natural eyesight, assuming you have 20/20 vision, and how the picture will look. Just stand further back and it will be just as clear.
You might be better off getting all the enhanced lighting effects that show up in Call of Duty Ghosts on the Xbox One version, because they're only pumping it out at 720p. And it's not like past console generations where it's coming out of the console at 720 and your shitty upscaler in the TV is doing it. They have some badass upscalers in these consoles. So just because the game is rendered at 720p, then it's going through this high-end upscaler in the console and it's coming out to your TV at 1080p still. So it's not... You can't make the Xbox 360 comparison. It's not the same thing.
No, it's not the same. I mean, the one thing I will agree upon, and Deep is bringing it up in chat, I do agree that this gen should be a standardized 1080. I don't think that's a big deal. Certainly in the PC world, coming from where I come from, I do resolutions much, much higher than 1080p. Obviously, because I own a PC and I'm not a total bitch and just own consoles. But, so I do understand that as a standard when you talk about next generation. I don't think that's a terrible thing to standardize. But having said that, we don't know how things will be in the future because, again, they haven't really learned yet how they're going to develop for the system. So,
I don't doubt that everything on these consoles within a year is all going to be 1080p 60 frames a second. I don't doubt that.
I agree with that as well. Yeah. It's going to take time.
Right. Yep. All right. Well, if any of you have feedback, give us a call 773-527-2961 or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And in site-related news, we're going to keep this real quick tonight. I just want to tell everybody, give you a little heads up. Hitman is going to be streaming both the PS4 launch night and the Xbox One launch night on our Twitch TV channel, twitch.tv/tooltoplay. So you can tune in either of those nights. It's going to be everything from the general chaos to unboxings to all that kind of stuff. So if you're not one of the people that has something coming, you want to see some good Tool to Play related coverage of it, Hitman's your boy, and he'll be streaming the fuck out of shit, and then including games. So.
Yeah, it's a great way to just see if you like these games or getting a perspective from a fellow Tool to Player, and hits the bomb at doing that kind of stuff. So if you want to just watch someone that like streams all day and can stream all night and just plays games and talks about how he's playing and what he finds interesting in them, watch Hit streams. So they're really good. And go watch his one-hit wonders, as I'm now calling them, his quick hits. They're really good too. So yeah. So tune in tomorrow and check this shit out. Or I'm sorry, at launch rather.
Tune in Friday
this
Friday, and next Friday,
Friday,
all day into the
wee hours.
Yes, I'm sure you could probably tune in
whenever,
super late Thursday night.
Yeah, just whenever.
Yeah, just tune in.
As soon as midnight hits, you're good to go.
Yep. All right, and on that, why don't we hop over into what we're playing? Joel, Dude, I Rock, Albert, what have you been playing this week?
This week, more of the same. I hate saying it because people get disappointed, World of Warcraft. But this weekend was the BlizzCon where they announced all their new shit. And Heroes of the Storm, which I don't think we probably don't have anything in terms of news releases about it because we have such a jam-packed show, but I just want to mention it. It looks amazing. It's Blizzard's new MOBA, and it looks like it could finally, I always say this, dethrone League of Legends, which is the most popular current game in the world. It looks amazing. It really does. I don't know if people care about BlizzCon and stuff like that. Of course, they announced a bunch of stuff for Diablo, which we'll get to. And of course, the new expansion pack for World of Warcraft, because that's their money. But it really looks good.
Less of their money, though.
It's less and less. 7 million subscribers. They are down a smidge. But
down
it is still
11 million at the peak.
But still, 7 million, let's face it, that is their cash cow still. That's not going away anytime soon. But yeah, in terms of video games, I've just been kind of waiting. So we'll see.
All right. Well, I was trying to figure out what to put on the outline, and literally as I was editing the outline, I got my email from Raptor with my weekly summary of what I played. So according to Raptor, I put in 20 hours and 13 minutes of Diablo 3 this week.
Dear God.
3 hours and 38 minutes of Borderlands 2, and 4 hours and 36 minutes of Halo 4.
And you're sure that you have a job, right? You have one?
Oh, yeah. So that comes in right about 28 hours of gameplay this week. So I'm pretty proud of that. That's pretty decent.
God.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Nope, not bad at all.
I got to step it up.
You do. You should just run Raptor so you can at least get your stats for what you're running on the PC. If nothing else.
I don't want to do that because I don't want it to tell me I'm playing WoW. I just don't need that information. So like, I just pretend it's not happening.
Plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability. It does not exist unless I say so.
All right. I understand that. It's for a long time I didn't want to run Xfire when I used to play World of Warcraft. And about 2 years in, then I was like, fine, fuck it. I'll run Xfire while I'm playing WoW. So it only got like the last year and a half or 2 years of me playing WoW. And then when I imported my Xfire shit into to Raptor, it's like, you've played World of Warcraft for 1,400 hours. And I was like, oh my God, that's only half of it. Like, it's insane.
Never have a World of Warcraft player do /played. I mean, it's the most depressing thing that you'll ever do in your whole life. You don't ever want to.
That's how much of your life you threw away.
Exactly. I love it.
All right. Well, on that, why don't we're going to head into new releases, but there's a lot of stuff that's coming out that is already out, or it's like there's DuckTales Remastered that came out like a couple months back, and that's coming out this week for the 360 and the PS3. But everything else we're going to talk about is all PS4 basically this week, or it's titles that are out for everything else and they came out like a week or 2 or 3 ago and now it's something new. So we're going to kind of just skim through those so that we don't have to talk about them, because we already talked about Battlefield 4. That's out Friday for the PS4. Call of Duty Ghosts, same thing. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, same thing. Madden NFL 25, Lego Marvel Superheroes, FIFA 14, NBA 2K14, Just Dance 2014, Skylander Swap Force, DC Universe Online. It came way out back in 2011 for the PS3. Now that's on the PS4. Trine 2, The Complete Story, which is basically Trine 2 plus all its DLC, out for the PS4. Also, Blacklight Retribution, which is the huge PC free-to-play first-person shooter game. That is now on the PS4. In addition to all that, Flower, Sound Shapes, Flow, and Escape Plan, which are 4 PSN games that were out for the PlayStation 3. Those are all remastered in 1080p now, and it's a cross-buy title. So if you buy it on one, you get it on PS3, PS4, and the Vita. And in this case, if you bought it back in the past when it was out for the PS3, you've just got the free game now for your PS4 and your Vita. So that covers kind of those that bucket of titles.
Right.
So now we can get into the actual new releases of the week. First new release out this week is a multi-platform release, and it's Need for Speed Rivals, and that's out for the PS4 this week and the Xbox One, 360, PS3, and PC next week. This is the 20th game in the Need for Speed series. Wow. I still remember when the very first Need for Speed came out, so it starts to show your age when you can remember back then. Gameplay is less like last year's Need for Speed Most Wanted, and it's gone back more to the 2010 crowd favorite Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. It's that type of cops and racers gameplay. As before, you can play as a racer or as the police. It features a new all-drive system that instantly and seamlessly goes from single to multiplayer and back and forth. This is the thing we saw at the EA press conference, Jay, where like the guy he's trying to outrun the cops, and then his buddy can see that that's the quest he's in, so he decides to come in as a cop, and they time it. So this guy's hauling ass down the road, and he literally comes out of his single player game. Boom. Now you're in a multiplayer game, and he's one of the cops that's chasing you. And it was actually a pretty cool feature. Like, I don't like racing games. Need for Speed, wouldn't consider a racing game. It's more
it's not. It's like action racing.
Yeah,
action racing. Yeah. It looks good though. It's good that they're like taking this different take on things, because Need for Speed has kind of been the same for a while. They tried something a little new last time with Most Wanted. Didn't really work out. So this is good. They're kind of going back to their roots, but adding on it iteratively to make it cooler, which I respect. I think that's good shit.
No, yeah, you're right. The game looks unbelievably cool. Like, I don't even like racing games, but this one, it looks pretty decent. Wouldn't be a PS4 game for me. If I ever did somehow pick this up, it would definitely be for the Xbox One, because that's obviously where most of my friends are.
Exactly.
All right, next new release out this week is also a multi-platform release, and it's Injustice: Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition. This is out for the PS4, the 360, the PS3, the Vita, and the PC. Now, this I would have tossed up at the top with the caveats category, but this is because it's basically just a re-release of Injustice. That's the DC superheroes and villains fighting game. It's like a Mortal Kombat with those guys, plus all the DLC that ever came out for that game. Now, the reason why I'm covering it separate is because this first dip into next-gen consoles is PS4 exclusive. There's no mention of an Xbox One version. They've denied that there's ever going to be one. So, this is really the first exclusive, which isn't even a new game, but it looks great, remastered for the PS4 at full 1080p resolution. I skipped this along the way, and I know Tiff was a huge fan of this game. She wanted to pick it up, but this may be something that we pick up, just to kill time.
I was going to say, I think that's the reason they did this and why it's an exclusive. I think it's kind of a no-brainer for Sony. It's an easy exclusive to pick up. It's just a remaster, but it puts something on their roster for launch, because that seems to be the thing, is people scrambling to get. Well, currently, if you look, Xbox 360 or Xbox One has more launch releases than Sony does. And I think you'll see like a lot of these things where they're just trying to throw something on the list. So and it's not like Injustice wasn't a good game. It actually did decently well and people really liked it. So this is kind of a no-brainer. You throw it on the list. It's remastered, looks good. If you didn't pick it up before on the last gen, you get it now on the next gen. It's not a big deal. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That might be a Friday pickup for us, especially since Tiff is taunting me in the chat room. The next new release out this week is also a multi-platform release, and it's Contrast. And this is out for we're going to have a new nomenclature here for the show, because usually we say PS3 and Xbox, and then we say PSN and XBLA. But now there's kind of two PSNs and there's kind of two XBLAs for the time being, because just because something's on PSN doesn't mean you can get it for the PS3. So this is out on PSN for the PS4 and on Xbox Live Arcade for the 360. And PSN for the PS3
dear God.
And the PC. Yes,
I've already forgotten. I don't even know anymore.
Dial into that.
Yeah.
Just wrap your mind around it.
Yeah.
Basically, it's downloadable for everything except for the Xbox One. This is a downloadable puzzle platformer. Obviously, it's got a cool game mechanic where you switch from the game is normally rendered in 3D, not like 3D, but like 3D models, just like every other game. But the puzzle twist is that your character can kind of jump into the shadows and switch to like the 2D thing. Like, now I'm just a shadow in the wall and I can go through this area because I'm a shadow. So part of the gameplay mechanic is actually controlling the lights in the level either blocking them or adding lights or changing lights to facilitate your ability to switch to this shadow mode to do that. It looks pretty decent, and it's actually one of the 2 free PS4 launch games. If you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, this is free day one PS4. You know?
Yeah, I guess.
How can you go wrong?
You can't go wrong. You can't. Free is always good.
Free is good.
Yeah.
All right, next new release out this week is for the PS4, and it's Killzone Shadowfall.
Oh, here we go.
This is the 6th game in Guerrilla Games' wildly popular Killzone series of FPSs. Now, it's really the only 4th console one because there were 2 Vita ones that came along the way, but it's the 4th major one, let's say. The game's set 30 years after the events of Killzone 3. It introduces a new personal drone called the Owl that can be used either for attack or for recon. Or like even some of the demos, they show you ziplining using it. Like it becomes one of the anchor points of your zip line, so you can like zip line down to some other building or something. It's kind of a cool mechanic. It's like a personal UAV, except it hangs out like right here over your shoulder, and it's definitely cool. It's a different twist on the game. I'll tell you, the game looks amazing. This is one of those games that really showcases the next gen consoles. It may be on my must playlist at some point, but right now it's not a day one buy for me because, you know, in a week there's going to be the Xbox One and then I'll be playing Call of Duty Ghosts and you'll have the Xbox One, you'll be playing Battlefield. And, but at some point I would like this. I have played a couple of the past Killzones, so it's on the list. It's just not a day one buy for me.
It might be a day one for me, depending on how things go. It's all about like, can I sit around and sit on my hands and wait for the Xbox One, because a part of me feels like I should buy this because if I have a PS4, I can't get it on the One, and I like by default should buy it. I just know me, and I think I probably won't be ended up playing it. So if I get it on Friday, that means I will have a week to play it until I'm then in Battlefield 4 and never play it again. It does look good though. I mean, I have to agree with you. It looks like an amazing game. It's one of those series that I think are really, really popular for PlayStation people, but it doesn't translate over to us. I've just never.
It's like the PlayStation equivalent of Halo. It's like we have our Halo. They have their Metal Gear Solid and their Killzone.
Yeah.
It's like Gears and Halo.
Right.
Like you got two. Everybody's got 2 massive, huge exclusives.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next new release out for the PS4 this week is Knack. This is Sony's first-party new IP action platformer for the PS4. You play as a character, and you basically have the ability to absorb all these different substances and take on their properties to use in the puzzle solving level to level. So each level you might be able to absorb different substances from the level. We saw some ice gameplay and some metal gameplay, but the developer said that there's all kinds of other substances you're going to be able to absorb and take advantage of those properties. There's also a free iPhone and Android game out called Knack's Quest that you can pull down right now. You link it to your PlayStation Network account, and you can unlock shit in the game just by playing this free iPhone or shitty Android game. It actually looks like a great platform. Like originally this wasn't on my list, but when I was going through all my notes from E3 and then going through some of the press for this, it reminds me a lot of Crash Bandicoot, which I loved on the original PlayStation. So this may actually be something that ends up getting picked up for the PS4.
Really?
Here in the Nolan household.
You're picking it up?
Yeah, it's got some co-op play too, which means I'll have to buy another controller right out of the gate for the PS4.
Nice.
Which we didn't think we needed one because we weren't going to play the thing.
But it's one of those platformers are such an interesting thing for me because I generally don't like go out and seek a platformer. But if it's good enough and for whatever reason I decide to buy it and it's good, I am like fucking hooked. So I've been looking at this. It looks pretty good. It could be one of those titles, like you said. Maybe it's a good tide-over title, a nice title to like have fun for the week and keep it around, play it when you're bored. Because I haven't been a platformer guy since I was, a younger gamer. But I still, once you kind of get in that mode, that platformer mode, sometimes they're hard to put down. And Knack looks like a pretty decent game. So
especially when it's exactly, you nailed it. When you find the right one, it doesn't matter how long it's been since you played platformers. It's like, oh yeah, I remember why I like platformers. It's just there's been so many shitty platformers that you're like, oh,
it's very true.
Fucking, rinse and repeat.
But I think Psychonauts for me was one of like the last ones, which is one of those sleeper one-hit wonders, if you will. They did a great job, but I haven't had one since. And I loved Crash. I love I love it like a lot of those games. I like Sly. PlayStation does seem to do a pretty good job with their platformer series when you kind of go back and think of all the things that they've come up with. So it's gonna be good.
Especially with Knack, they seem to have learned from this new thing where the latest, we actually all have played some platformers very recently, but we don't consider them platformers because we call them puzzle games, like Portal 2.
Right.
Those sort of games are now what platformers are trying to. If you're a traditional platformer developer, you're trying to kind of cross that,
you want to do
gap,
that bridge.
and you want to have enough puzzles in there to make it not just that repetitive platforming aspect and not that repetitive just twitch, button mashing thing, but you want that level of like thinking man's puzzles. And Portal really set the bar so high with that, and that's one of the cool things about this, where you absorb all these abilities. And it really reminds me of like the goos in Portal. You know how you had the orange Portal 2, the orange goo, the purple goo, and how they had different properties. This is really a distinct possibility in the Nolan house.
Now, are you saying that they have a knack for it? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, that was funny. I mean, funny.
Oh God, so pathetic.
That was horrible.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, we don't do that kind of show. We say cunt and vag tit, but we don't even make nice cute puns.
That's a cute pun for cunts.
All right. Next new release out this week is on the PlayStation 4 PlayStation Network, and it's Resogun. This is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up from the same guys that put out Super Stardust HD, which is another popular side-scrolling space shoot-'em-up that was out for the PlayStation 3. The stylized graphics are really sweet. The game looks like a lot of fun. And this is the other free PS4 launch game if you have PlayStation Plus. So we'll definitely be playing this here and checking it out, at least if nothing else, because we have 2 PlayStation Plus subscriptions, believe it or not.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's how we roll. Ever since we got those free ones at E3, we've just been buying this shit. Yeah.
It worked for you, is what you're saying. Wow, They did a good job. Good for them. I think I gave mine away.
Was like, my buddy Derek Nolan doesn't even have fucking PlayStation Plus. Let me just give him one for free and see if we can hook him. And I was like, yeah, Jack, that's right. Yeah, I'm in. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to trying that too, and it's free. So, and Hit's saying in chat that Tiff gave hers to Hit. So yes, I had one for a long time.
I gave mine to Hit. Fuck that shit.
Oh, I don't know who we gave ours to. We gave ours to one of the writers, but I had mine, and then after mine was ending after that year, because Tiff had the Vita, she needed her own to be able to leverage it. So now we've rolled with 2 ever since. So yeah, good times. All right, next new release out this week is also a PlayStation 4, PlayStation Network release, and it is Warframe. This is a free-to-play third-person squad-based shooter. Now, for those of you keeping track, this is the second free-to-play game now out for the PlayStation 4. Your character wears this suit that they call a Warframe, hence the name of the fucking game.
Shocker.
And each of the suits have different abilities and weapons and unique nuances to them. So there's a whole bunch of different Warframes that you can wear. Upgrades and new stuff are via either you earn them in the game or microtransactions to pick up new stuff, which obviously free to play, there has to be some way they make money. Otherwise, people just don't give you something for nothing. You can't go to free to play car. Like, it just doesn't happen.
That sounds fantastic.
I know, it would be awesome, but it doesn't exist.
No,
that's why it sounds
That's
awesome.
a shame.
Yes. So this has been in beta on the PC since like early this year, like say February or March. It's been in beta, obviously because they had to shake it out somewhere with big crowds of people. It's had really good press since then. So it's free to play, and you can't go wrong picking it up. If you got a PlayStation 4, just go to the PlayStation Network, and actually, if you log on there now on your PlayStation 3 and you browse over to the PlayStation Store, you can actually pre-order this for free. And you actually get some free in-game extra credits for pre-ordering it for free.
That's weird. I've heard a lot of great things about this, actually. I mean, this was at E3, they actually had a decent space just for this game. So I don't know like how well it's going to play out, but it feels like the great thing about free-to-play games is you jump in, you play them. If you don't like them, you walk away. Nothing gets lost. Yep. So, and they did this with Tribes, and actually me and a couple other friends, and LB and a couple of those guys played Tribes, and we played it for 3 months. It was free. They got us to spend money, and I actually respected it. Like, I'll give you $10. I'll increase my leveling by X amount because I just want to see how the game is. And then I was done. They got $10-15 out of me, but it was worth it. It was worth every penny.
You paid for what you used in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like, wow, I didn't spend $50 and only play $15 worth. I probably got more out of it than they got out of me. So I actually love this model.
Not like
check
the
it
model
out.
where you're going to pay $60 for Killzone and play it for 5 hours.
That's exactly the problem.
Yes, $12 an hour for Killzone.
$12 an hour is not good. I don't like that value.
All right. Well, I'm calling these new releases, but these are really all launch releases. But the last new release out this week is also on PlayStation 4, PlayStation Network, and it's Super Motherload. Now, bear with me here because I'm going to describe this as a 2D digging RPG.
It sounds horrible.
It sounds like the last thing you want to play.
Just what I've always wanted.
It's basically, there's a lot of digging for minerals and crafting shit from those and selling minerals, and there's different economies. And the whole game is procedurally generated, so each time it's different. Imagine, if you will, a better looking version of Dig Dug, but instead of just digging down and blowing shit up, you're digging down there and searching pockets and finding minerals and there's quests and you're leveling up your digging abilities. There's bring me X number of these. They get the Warcraft thing, but it's all spun under this weird 2D Dig Dug style, but not 8-bit sort of thing. Like, there must be somebody that wanted this game. Like, somebody is like a huge fan of 2D digging RPGs. They're like, oh my
Really?
God, it's been like 50 years since we had a 2D digging RPG. Can someone put one out? So these guys did. There's never been a game that's less for me, unless it was like, punch you in the dick game, and you had like an add-on that you plug in the USB port and punch it in the dick. Yeah, that might even be more fun than a 2D digging RPG. But
God, if only it was an immersive world I can live in and dig all the time. Oh wait, it is. This is amazing. This is everything I've been missing my whole life. Thank you.
Now, for any of you out there that, like, I know if you can't picture this, just Google for Super Motherload. And the name sounds like it should be so bad. Like, Super Motherload. Like, what's it, a big motherload of cum? Or fucking a big motherload of jewels and treasure? Like, whether you're a sexual guy, a money guy, it doesn't matter. Super Motherload just reeks of something awesome. And what you're going to find once you Google this and find, like, the 3 Google results for it.
The 3.
You're going to be sorely disappointed.
No, I got it. I got it for him. Here you go. There you go. Anyone in chat gets to see. Oh, yeah. It's funny. It is essentially Dig Dug, right? I mean, that's what it appears to be. It's a little bit of Dig Dug.
For those of you audio listeners, Jay has this up on the screen. I'm going to describe to you what we see. Up at the top, there's some health bars for yourself and your equipment that are overground. And overground is not rendered in 2D. That's like a 2/3 angle 3D. And then underground, it looks just like Dig Dug.
They were like, fuck it, let's just use Dig Dug. We got this.
Yeah,
they just did not give a shit. They just did not care.
Potentially the worst launch game of any console ever. Like not Bejeweled Blitz, Hexic HD that came with the Xbox 360. That is 20 times.
I fucking love Hexic, dude. I mean, at least I played some Hexic. I don't think this would ever even They give this to me for free, and I
potentially
back out.
one of the worst launch games I've ever seen for what is the next generation of consoles. And we're like, how about Dig Dug?
Dig Dug. Let's go with Dig Dug for a launch title. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Oh, well.
All right. Well, that caps out the PlayStation 4 launch lineup. So there must be something in there you heard either from the 20 pre-release titles that are finally coming out for the PS4 that I talked about at the beginning, or the 8 other games that we talked about during the meat of the new releases. But there's got to be something out there for everybody. And like I said, if you're a PlayStation Plus person, you're getting 2 of those games for free. You're getting Resogun and Contrast for free. So you got 2 games right out of the gate, which we do here. But Knack, like that, if I had to pick one of these that stands out and that is not going to interfere with me playing shooters on the Xbox One when that comes out, Knack is probably that game for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of choice, right? So it's either for real titles. Let's call them real titles. You're either going to get Killzone or you're going to get Knack.
Yep, that's about it.
There you go. You're done.
And then you and I might still get FIFA and play.
That's true. If we want to connect with our inner Drake, we will in fact get FIFA. But other than that, nothing else. No other choice.
It's more than just soccer. Hey, hey, hey.
Wow.
I call it football.
Oh, dear God.
Hey, hey, hey.
Stop yourself.
All right. On that, why don't we hop over into gaming news? First story.
The Xbox One leaker gets a trip to launch event, but early consoles are restricted from Xbox Live. Twitter user Moonlight Swami The lucky but also unlucky guy who got an Xbox One early spilled the details regarding his experience on Twitter and was subsequently blocked from accessing Xbox Live. He's going to be a guest at the Xbox One Gala event, the launch event that's coming up. So Microsoft has some bad news for anyone else in his shoes, though. Even if you've got the console early, it won't do you much good, as you won't be allowed to connect to Xbox Live, which kind of makes sense as they're still in the process of testing out. This is like last minute launch type of shit here. Swami's real name, which is Andre Weingarten, if I'm pronouncing that very German name correctly.
He's an overseas guy.
Yeah, doesn't count. Tweeted a slew of pictures and impressions once he had the console and uploaded the unboxing videos up to YouTube. Shortly thereafter, however, his Twitter account was locked due to excessive posting, and his videos had received a copyright claim from who else? Microsoft. A few hours later, his system was banned from Xbox Live. Oh, suck it. Microsoft made a statement to Kotaku regarding what happened to Weingarten's console and what will happen to pretty much anyone's console if they get it early with the Xbox One. So that makes kind of sense. The statement notes that while the company is pleased to see the positive impressions, quote, given we are still putting the finishing touches on our games, our UI, and online services, as well as confidential partner and media agreements, these console units will be restricted from connecting to Xbox Live until closer to our launch date, which we all know is coming very, very soon. So if you, like Weingarten, receive an Xbox One before the street date, which if you do, well done. Your console is going to be severely restricted and limited in what it can do anyway. So you kind of are going to get it and put it away until launch anyway. It won't be able to download the all-important Day 1 update, which is required for every Xbox One. But of course, Twitter has been on fire with this because everyone's, chomping at the bit, waiting to see what it's all about. So what do you think about this?
Did you follow this? It happened really
little
early
bit.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the midst of a BlizzCon blizzard, if you will, but I was following this at the same time. So it's been
this guy. I can see why Twitter blocked his.
It makes sense.
This guy has maybe tweeted like 5 times a week, and now all of a sudden he's tweeting like 500 times. He got pictures and this and videos,
Right.
and everybody's asking questions. He's trying to answer everybody. Like this guy was the such great PR for someone to accidentally get their console early.
Yeah.
I think it was Target in his country shipped it out to him early. And I think all the banning and everything that happened was the Microsoft machine, if
Yes,
you will.
it
Because,
had to.
like Deep said in chat, and we saw Saturday morning on Twitter, Larry Major Nelson, Larry Herb, Xbox Live's Major Nelson, reached out to him and gave him a quick follow and said, DM me every bit of information so I can get in touch with you. We got to talk through this and figure this out. And they didn't want to shut this guy down. It's not his fault that he got the console early.
It's like it's a total accident, and of course you're not going to just sit there and not do anything with the system.
Yeah,
if I get it, I'm
unrealistic.
Right.
So instead, this guy becomes the greatest PR mouthpiece for Microsoft possible. It's like, look how fucking awesome this thing is. Look at the fucking holy shit! I fucking came in my pants. Oh my god! I got up to the TV now. Look at this, and it was just such great PR for Microsoft. And I think that's what Larry saw was like, this guy wasn't out there malicious.
Yeah.
He didn't hack into his local Target, so they shipped it out early. This was a fucking mistake. And anybody here that got something early would open early. Is no one's going to be like, oh, they accidentally shipped me 2 weeks early. I should probably call Target and tell them. No, that's not what people do. You open it, you enjoy it, and I think that in the end, this was handled really well. Now he's going out to the Uber launch event for this thing.
That's very cool. That's a very cool thing to do.
But
kudos to Microsoft.
And they were careful to say that both. If you get your console early, it's not going to be working on Xbox Live. But they didn't say until launch day. They said until closer to launch.
Right.
So, obviously they're still working on this day 1 patch. And this guy, when he plugged his in, he got whatever the probably the same version that all the Microsoft employees have for their home Xbox Ones right now. Right. The beta units where they're constantly rolling out these updates. It's not the final one. They still have a whole another week and a half. So, it's exciting, but good on Microsoft, good on Larry Herb for taking care of this.
Well,
guy.
it's good to see that positive things are coming out of this anyway, that he didn't get the system and say, holy shit, it's broken, it red ring as soon as I plugged it in. A lot of people are enjoying this, and I think this is the key to what's happening with Microsoft right now, which is I think Microsoft's key is getting it in the hands of people. I actually agree with their PR team. They fucked up a lot, But the system is really amazing. You know, it takes a long time, I think, for people to get like how much is jam-packed into this thing versus Sony. Sony did a great job at making a great gaming rig for relatively cheap. Microsoft goes a little bit, I think, further and makes a good gaming rig, but a really awesome entertainment system. And I mean, if that's not what you're looking for, I totally get it. But I think once people get their hands on this and see what we saw at E3 and see what a lot of other people have had a chance to put their hands on as well, I think you're going to be pretty pleased. I really do. I do.
Especially after that video that they put out last week with
Yes.
Notwin, and I forget who the other guy in the video was, but that is just like the most amazing showcase of just
Agreed.
the side benefits of Kinect. Like people people are like, oh, Kinect's about dance games, and Kinect's about, no, Kinect offers you this entirely different way to experience shit. Like when they uncover the Kinect in that video,
and it just sees
Mark
him
at the couch, it's like, hey, Mark. Then the other guy walks back around, sees him, show me my stuff, and like it's cool shit.
Yeah, and it's a very hard thing to speak about, and that's the problem right now that I think Kinect has. I don't like Kinect at all. I think it's a piece of shit, but that's because I don't like to use Kinect to play video games. This is what Kinect is really about as a user interface, connecting the user in a different way to control their Xbox One. That to me is the key to this. That's why they had to box it up with every unit. I agree with the decision even more now, seeing that unveil. I really think everyone, I know you're crazy and you think the NSA is going to come and stick a thumb up your ass. They might still do that. I don't know what you're fucking doing in your own house. It's really weird. Maybe you should calm down. But having said that, having this unit in your house, I think is going to be a benefit just with interacting with your actual system outside of video games. That's what I'm saying. Outside of that world, I think it's really cool.
No, I can't fucking wait.
We'll see. All right, next story. This one's tailor-made for D Smooth, because why not? He put it in, so clearly it means something. Diablo 3 for the PS4 has exclusive features not available on the PC. This is a first via Polygon. The Ultimate Evil Edition of Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls for the PlayStation 4 will have a handful of features exclusive to the console version of the game, Blizzard says, including an intriguing new social feature called Avenger Kills. The PS4 version, which runs at 60 frames per second at 1080p resolution natively, said senior level designer Matthew Berger, is adding a handful of gameplay additions built around shared experiences for players, even if you're not playing at the same time. One of those is player gifts. In the console version, players who get a legendary item from a loot drop will also get a second bonus item that can then be gifted to a friend through the PS4's games player mail system. So you get a little thing in the mail. It's like, Derek's like, hey, dude, you're not doing shit and you're kind of a piece of shit gamer, but I want you to play this game. Here's some free shit. Good. Berger explained how that will work, that the gift item will be either of rare or legendary class and can be used by the player character who opens it. So as long as you open it, it's yours. Quote, even though you and I are not adventuring together, Berger said, I can give you something and still make it feel like we're playing together. Although I don't really see that connection. But hey, free shit's free shit.
No, it's like being in a guild. You might not always play with the guys in your
true.
guild, but
You
they
give
put
them
shit, send you stuff in the mail, put shit in the bank. They know what you need.
It keeps them connected. I guess I agree with that. It keeps a little bit of symbiosis there. So it's nice. Avenger Kills offer another opportunity for friends to connect. Even if they are not playing cooperatively at the same time, with an Avenger Kill, when a player dies at the hands of a monster, there's a chance that the monster will level up and then jump into a special portal. That monster will then target a player on your friends list, which is kind of fucking awesome. Later, when that friend comes online, that monster will appear during a special event. The skies will darken, and the player will be warned that Matthew's Bane, quote unquote, as in terms of Matthew as your friend, a special title, is after them. If that monster then kills that player, it will level up again, becoming the Bane of that player, and then find a new player on that friends list to target and kill, and it's a rinse repeat. It's almost like the virus that Warcraft had. Yeah, and it's very much in that vein. So if anyone didn't play Warcraft, which sadly most of our listeners probably don't because they have lives, there was a accidental virus that got released through one of World of Warcraft's old raids that eventually started spreading and killing people off. This is kind of in homage to that. So if you don't kill a monster, the monster kills you. It spreads and spreads and spreads until finally someone kills the monster and then it's dead. So it's kind of I actually think that's really cool. I really do like that. If you manage to kill the monster, however, you and the friend who spawned it, or most recently helped to level it up, will get a piece of loot. So if you kill the monster, you get gear. Just how powerful those Avenger Kill monsters can be ultimately becomes still something that is under discussion. become too cruel, too overpowered, and the monster may ultimately retire. So that means if all of your friends fucking suck, is basically what this is saying. They won't spread the virus until you all uninstall the game and stop playing. It'll eventually just die off itself, and really you should get like an achievement for being shitty. You know, like giving you an achievement for not being good. So what are your thoughts on this? It's a pretty cool idea, I think, from Blizzard to get people into the console version.
Oh, I think both these are cool. This is like, we've already said that the console versions have been known as the definitive versions of Diablo going up until now. People were so disenfranchised by the PC version. The console version came out right. They had all the nuances fixed. They had this awesome UI. They had couch co-op. Now you come in and you say, okay, at first I'm a little disappointed there's no Xbox One version, but that's okay. I'll start over with new characters. Doesn't matter. The PlayStation 4 version now is getting features that don't even exist on the PC. So I could see if it was couch co-op features that they were ignoring, but here's like, these are legitimate friends features, like sharing stuff with friends. There's no reason why that couldn't be on the PC. Like you have a friends list. Like
you have Battle.net.
You're battling their friends. There's no reason they couldn't have that. There's no reason that they couldn't do this awesome fucking Avenger kills thing where, you know, three of your friends suck. You finally down this bitch. You're like, yeah, take that, Duty's Bane. And then all of a sudden I get some loot. You get some loot because it was your Bane. And it's just a cool add-on to something that's already cool. And this is already because when this comes out, Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls is that expansion pack. So it's already going to have all that other new shit in there too. So I think this is pretty cool. And the other side note they came out with this, there's going to be some way, if you were a PlayStation 3 person that was playing Diablo, there's going to be a way to import your character into the PlayStation 4. They haven't said how yet because that's going to be some amazingly fucked up juju that has to happen. Like you have to light a candle and then put some incense and do this. And somehow your shit gets from PS3 to PS4. But they have said that's going to happen. So this is definitely, I would say once this finally comes out and no one knows when that is, I assume it's going to be lagged a little bit behind the Reaper of Souls for the PC release. Yeah. But when this comes out, this will once again be the new definitive version.
It's really good to see them doing this type of stuff. I mean, it's really nice to see. I think really the move here for them is, you know, Blizzard has not been known as Blizzard is a PC gaming company, right? So this is a good way to really get console people attracted to the Blizzard universe. There's so much great content there with Blizzard. Outside of Diablo, obviously StarCraft is probably the largest video game in the world, if you're talking about the actual world. So it'll be cool to see this as maybe a tie-in to get more people into those IPs. I think it's a great idea. It looks really cool. I love the Monster Kill Avenger stuff. That stuff is really cool. So yeah, I'm all for this type of stuff. I'm obviously going to be playing on the PC because that's where my installment originally is. That's where I bought the game. But it's still really cool to see them do this.
I bought it twice now.
Have you bought it twice? Oh yeah, that's right. You bought PC, didn't you?
Yeah, I have the PC one, then Tiff bought it for the 360.
Why not? Fuck it.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess that wraps up news for this week. We kind of shrunk it a little bit because of our huge list of new releases, which was epic, to say the least.
Yes.
And next week's show is probably going to be the same
epic
fucking
as well.
thing.
Prepare for more epicness.
Yep. So on that, why don't we hop over into the mailbag and voicemails? Altius asks, with the arrival of the PS4 this Friday, what are your grand plans for your PS3s? Giving them away, throwing them out, selling them, smashing them a la Office Space?
I like it.
Well, you don't have a PS3.
Fuck that stupid system. I got that shit.
All right. So for me, I'm planning on shitting in mine.
Oh, you're going to take a shit inside of it? Like inside?
I was thinking that. The only fear I had is it would stop working if I did that. So
you actually were hoping you could shit in it and then still use it.
Yeah,
wow, that is you got a problem there. That's where your problem is.
No, what I think is going to happen is because despite being a multi Xbox family and household here, like I've said before, there's 5 Xboxes around this house, one on every TV, one in the games case. But we only have one PS3, and we definitely err on the Xbox side, and that's because that's where our friends are. So I think this gives us the opportunity. The 2 main gaming locations we have are the family room and down in the basement. So that's obviously where the 2 Xbox Ones are going to go. And I think the PlayStation 4 will go on the primary TV in the family room. We'll move the PlayStation 3 down the basement. And, you know, it's got some longevity to it still. Not for me, but, you know, that's the beauty of having 4 kids.
Yeah. Well, for me, I mean, I don't have the PlayStation, but I could even say it for the Xbox 360. It's a great media player. If you ever guys see me online, which you'll always see me online at around like 10 o'clock, it's because I'm watching Netflix or I'm like about to go to bed and I'm playing something through my server, which I use to stream all my media straight to my living room. So it'll give me an extra place to put it on a TV, maybe in the kitchen or something. I don't know. Like they still serve a purpose outside of just playing video games. That's really what's really nice about these things. They're XVID players, they're, WMV player, whatever. Throw anything at it and they'll still play. So that's what's going to happen to all mine. They're going to be retired into a media player only system, and then we'll move on from there. Good stuff.
Very nice. All right. Whoa, I'm echoing back on myself.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's how we roll sometimes. Well, if any of you have feedback like Altius, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. You can also comment on this episode's thread on the Tool to Play homepage. Sponsors, you want to sponsor us, same number, 773-527-2961. Same email address, podcast@tooltoplay.com. Let us know what you want to sell. We'll let you know you're going to pay us. We'll sell it. You pay us. Boom. Done. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related is at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the internet, got of everything that's holy at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
And I'm right on over at twitter.com/dude to the I to the rock.
Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/Tool to Play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/dude I rock.
We also have our newly wildly popular YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tool to Play. You can find every episode of Still Got Game there. Every episode of Thick and Thin. All of our other shows, hits, bong hits, or one hits, or hits one hitters, or whatever hits calling his show these days. And all of our one-off shows and media there. It's a great place to find content that if you like this content, chances are you'll like that other content. Maybe not as much, probably less, probably a lot less, but it's better than the other content on the internet. But if you like this content, it's there too. Please rate and review the podcast in iTunes. Give us 5 stars, write a review, tell people we're awesome, we're gods, you love us, you can't wait to tune in every week, you can't wait to it shows up on your phone, you can listen in the car on the way to work, you can listen in the office, you can watch us on your TV, you can stream us live on the Xbox, on the Twitch TV app, because we're the only people playing WildStar. Doesn't matter how you absorb us, just tell people on iTunes that you love us, because no matter how you get the show, iTunes is still important to us, and we need you to go over there and just 5 stars and write a review. You can join us live each and every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. We do the show live. There's a chat room. You heard us during this episode. We talked to people in there. We brought up stuff they were talking about. We brought it into the conversation. If you come in here and you talk and you type in that chat, you can be part of the conversation too. You can help influence the show and the direction of the show and contribute and have your name mentioned. Like, I know some people, you don't have your own show. You could have your own show, but you don't. But since you come on our show, you say your name, like, look, there's Deep. Oh, Deep. Deep's doing stuff. Yeah, there's Deep. See, I just said Deep's name like 5 times. He's fucking 5 times more famous than he was a minute
He gets royalties for that. He's making money right now.
Yep. It's fucking the shit.
It's out of control.
So come on Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. And I guess on that, why don't we wrap this PlayStation-themed episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel Dude I Rock Albert.
PlayStation forward.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming right on your back.
Oh, coming all over your face, neck, and chest. Wow.